Hi everyone, this is Richa Patel, your maths mentor, and हमने शुरू किया था rational numbers grade 8 in which we have covered rational numbers and its properties. One property was pending, so हम वहीं से start करेंगे. In the last class, first of all, I like to give a quick recap. Recap ले लेते हैं. हमने ये देखा कि rational numbers are those numbers which can be written in the form of p upon q, where p and q are integers. And q, that is the denominator, should not be equal to 0, right? Then we have covered properties of rational numbers, in which we have covered closure properties, in which if the operations result is also a rational number, then we will call it as having a closure property, otherwise it do not have closure property. Then we have covered commutative property, in which we have seen कि when we interchange the position of two digits and if the answer remains unchanged, we will say it is having commutative property, otherwise it do not have. Then we have saw associative property, that talks about regrouping, and that says when we regroup a set of numbers and if the resultant is still same, we will say it is having associative property, otherwise it do not have associative property. Now the last property was distributive property, and today we will start from here only. So let's start from distributive property. Distributive property says that the formula for distributive property is A into B plus C is equal to, this is distributive property, okay, that says A into B plus C. Acha, basically the property says the outer number will first of all multiply with inner number, it will be A into B, then whatever sign here it will be the same sign here. Now the outer number will multiply with second number, it will be A into C. This is your distributive property of addition. Similarly, we are having distributive property of subtraction also, that talks about A into B minus C. Everything will be same, only one thing will be changed, that here is subtraction, so here the sign will be subtraction. First number with first number, A into B, then minus the sign, then you will write minus here, and then first number with second number, A into C. So basically here we are having two parts of distributive property. First one is multiplication over addition, and second one is multiplication over subtraction. So these two properties we can say of distributive property. Let's take an example of distributive property. We can say 2 into 3 plus 4. You can directly answer that 2 into 3 plus 4 is 7, that is 14. But when we use this property, we will say A multiplied by B, 2 into 3. Then here is addition, you will write addition over here. Then 2 into 4, right? So it will be 2 3s are 6 plus 2 4s are 8, and the answer is 14, you can see. So this is basically our distributive property. I hope it is clear to everyone. If you have doubts, you can mention in the comment box. Okay. Now we are moving with identities of rational numbers. Identities of rational numbers. We are having 4 identities of rational numbers. First one is additive identity. Second one is multiplicative identity. Third is additive inverse. And fourth is multiplicative inverse. Okay, so one by one we will see what are these identities. So additive identity says that basically additive identity is 0. You can write in additive identity it is 0. So basically additive identity says that when you add 0 to a number or 0 is added to a number, we call it as additive identity. When 0 is added to a number or 0 is added to a number, the number will be same. For example, if I say 1 is added to 0, it will be 1 only. 0 is added to 2, it will be 2 only. That means whenever we add 0 to any number, it gives us the same resultant, right? That is additive identity. For example, if I have given some student 4 apples and let's say some other person have given 0 apples, is there any change? कोई change हुआ उसमें? नहीं, उसके पास 4 apples थे, किसी ने उसको zero apples दिए, zero made no impact, that means the number of apples remain same, right? This is what your additive identity says, that when you add 0 to a number, it gives you the same number. I hope now it is clear, right? Now we will move to multiplicative identity, and multiplicative identity we call 1. 1 is known as multiplicative identity. So basically, multiplicative identity says that when we multiply a number with 1, we will get the same number. I am saying when we multiply a number with 1, we will get the same number. For example, 4 multiplied by 1 is 4, 3 multiplied by 1 is 3, 18 multiplied by 1 is 18. That means whenever a number is multiplied by 1, we will get the same number. This is multiplicative identity, right? Now we will see what is additive inverse. So additive inverse means that when we simply additive inverse says what we can add to a number so the resultant will be 0. That means what we can add to a number so the resultant will be 0. Let's take an example. If I say हम 4 में क्या ऐड करें कि 0 आ जाए? You will say, ma'am, if I add 4 में -4, 4 minus 4 will be 0, right? Similarly, if I say 5 में क्या ऐड करें कि वो 0 हो जाए? You will say, ma'am, -5, because 5 minus 5 will be 0. That means in additive inverse, we will simply add the inverse of that number. 4 का inverse is -4, -5 का inverse is 5. So whenever a question of additive inverse come, for example, the question says, what is additive inverse of 3? You will say -3, right? You will simply change the sign. You will not do anything, simply change the sign. For example, if we say, what is the additive inverse of -13? You will say +13, right? That means in additive inverse, you have to do nothing, just change the sign of the original number. I hope now it is clear to everyone. Okay, moving on to multiplicative inverse. Multiplicative inverse says that when we multiply, that when what we can multiply to a number, so the resultant is 1. So we will say what we can multiply to a number, so the resultant is 1. So basically what we can multiply, if we multiply the reciprocal of that number, a into 1 upon a. You can see a and a will be cancelled, the resultant will be 1. Right? That means whenever the question says what we can multiply to a number, so the resultant is 1, we will say, so I was saying कि multiplicative identity is what you can multiply to a number, so the resultant is 1. For example, if I say what we can multiply to 4, so the resultant is 1, you will say the reciprocal of 4, that is 1 upon 4. That's why we say whenever we talk about multiplicative inverse, we talk about reciprocal, right? Reciprocal and multiplicative inverse are same things. So in multiplicative inverse, you just have to do the reciprocal of the original number. In additive inverse, you just have to change the sign of the original number. Additive identity is 0, multiplicative identity is 1. I hope now it is clear to everyone. Okay. Fine. So let's do some question of this. If I say 2 plus 3 and 3 plus 2, it is which property of rational number? This is your question 1. 2 plus 3 and 3 plus 2, which property? It is, your options are commutative property of addition, second is commutative property of subtraction, third is associative property, and fourth is distributive property. So what will be the answer? You can see it is A plus B equals to B plus A. So no doubt it is commutative property of addition. If it was A into B is equal to B into A, then it will be commutative property of multiplication, right? Yeah. Next is, let's say the question is, what is the multiplicative inverse of what is the multiplicative inverse of 3? Your options are -3, 0, 1 upon 3, yeah, 1. So we are talking about multiplicative inverse. So multiplicative inverse, as we know, is the reciprocal of the number. So we'll say the answer is 1 upon 3 because 3 into 1 upon 3 will be 1. Right? That means multiplicative inverse is basically the reciprocal of the number. Okay? Now let's take one more question. The question is 0.3 the multiplicative inverse of 3 1 by 3 or not? This is your question, right? Now let's see. So basically 3 1 by 3 is a mixed fraction. When you will convert it into improper, it will be 10 upon 3, right? Now 10 upon 3 is the mixed fraction. Now we know multiplicative inverse may be reciprocal the original value. So 10 upon 3 will be 3 upon 10 and 3 upon 10 ko we can write 0.3. So no doubt it is yes, right? So this is how the questions of identities and properties will come. Okay, so now we are going to practice some questions of rational numbers. So basically, the first question is, which of the following is a rational number? You can see option A is root 2, option B is pi, option C is 7 upon 9, option D is root 5. Root 2 is not an integer, it can't be a rational number, right? Root 5 also is not an integer, can't be a rational number. Pi also is not a rational number, and only option C, that is 7 upon 9, is written as form of P upon Q, so it will be a rational number, right? As we know, P upon Q, where P and Q are integers and Q should not be equal to 0, and this is only in option number C. That's why option number C is a rational number, right? Okay. Question number 2 is, what is the multiplicative inverse of 5? Options are -5, 1 by 5, 5 and D is 0. So what is multiplicative inverse? Multiplicative inverse means the reciprocal of the number, right? So the reciprocal of 5 is the reciprocal of 5 is 1 upon 5, and when 5 and 5 will be divided, the resultant is 1. That means the reciprocal is 1 by 5. Got it, everyone? I hope it is clear now. Now we are moving to the third question. Which of the following is the correct distributive law? So everyone try this question. Look at the options and tell which of the following is the correct distributive law. So as we know, distributive law means multiplication over addition or multiplication over subtraction. Here they did addition over multiplication. Option A is wrong. Option C says A into B plus C. No. Option D says A plus B into C. No. But option B says A into B plus C, and we know A into B plus C is A into B plus A into C. Here brackets are missing, you have to put the brackets, right? So this is our distributive law. I hope it is clear to everyone. Now the next question is, what is the additive inverse of 4 upon 9? So basically about additive inverse, we know additive inverse is the inverse of the number. Inverse means you just have to change the sign of the number. Additive inverse says what we can add to a number, so the resultant is 0. So what we can add? We can add the negative value of the number and the resultant will 0. That means you just have to change the sign of the original number, and 4 upon 9 plus minus 4 upon 9 will be 0. I hope this thing is also clear. Okay, next question is, which of the following properties is not satisfied by rational number under subtraction? Try this question. So as we know, closure property satisfies addition, subtraction, multiplication but not division, right? Commutative property satisfies only addition and multiplication. Associative property satisfies only addition and multiplication. So they are saying which is not satisfying subtraction. So option B, that is commutative, and option C, that is associative. Both of them do not satisfy subtraction, right? That means the answer is option number D. Let's do one more question and then we will wind up today's session. So it is, which of the following pairs are equivalent rational numbers? So those who don't know about equivalent rational numbers, let me tell you, equivalent rational numbers are those numbers whose standard values are same. For example, if we say 2 upon 3 and 4 upon 6. 4 upon 6 ko we can write as 2 2s are 4, 2 3s are 6. You can see this is also 2 upon 3, this is also 2 upon 3. So we will say they are equivalent to each other. We can find infinite equivalent rational numbers of a number. For example, if I say what are 5 equivalent rational numbers of 1 upon 5. So one by one you will multiply 1 upon 5 with any number of your choice. If you want to multiply by 2, multiply by 2 in numerator and denominator. So it is 2 upon 10, first equivalent. Let's say the third one. 1 upon 5 multiply by 3 multiply by 3. Don't forget to multiply the number in numerator and denominator both. So it is 3 upon 15, second equivalent. 1 upon 5 multiply by 4, 4 upon 20, third equivalent rational number. 1 upon 5 multiply by 5, 5 upon 25, fourth rational equivalent number. Right? So this is how you can calculate infinite rational number of a number. That's why in this question they are saying about equivalent rational numbers. 2 upon 3 and 3 upon 2 are not equivalent. Minus 2 upon 5 and 2 upon 5. No, they are not. One is negative, one is positive. Let's talk about 4 upon 6 and 2 upon 3. You can write 4 upon 6 as 2 2s are 4, 2 3s are 6. That means both of them are equivalent to each other, and 3 upon 4 and 4 upon 3 are not equivalent. So this was the content. We have covered rational numbers, we have covered its properties, we have covered its identities. In the next class we will cover rational numbers on a number line and how many rational number exist